Hey everybody, welcome in. Hey. Gonna give it a couple seconds as everyone comes into the webinar. Hope everyone is doing great today. I see a lot of familiar names, notably a lot of our VAs too. Hey VAs. Um, hey guys, we'll just give it a couple minutes for everyone to come in. If anyone wants to say hi in the chat or just say where you're coming in from, uh, that's always welcome. I see a lot of familiar names. It's hey Karen. I see Aaron. I see Carrie and Laura. I see Mala. Hey Mala. So I see Juka. A lot of managers we know in the chat. These webinars are way more fun because they're more fun than the accelerators because me and Frank and Houston kind of know you guys and we talk to you guys a lot. So it's more fun to see familiar faces. We're gonna give it probably just another 60 seconds. We're recording this for everyone's knowledge and everything, so we don't need to worry about missing any critical details. Yeah. Hope everyone is doing well today. Okay, we got a couple more people in. All right. With that, we'll probably just kick it off. Everyone will get the recording who doesn't get this. So, hey, everyone, welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about some new aspects of LP onboarding. This is part of a new kind of paradigm of ours that we want to be more proactive on letting new managers know when we're doing changes, particularly those that affect your LPs. This is going to be a couple different aspects of LP facing changes into how LPs onboard into your fund, how they sign, and just kind of the experience they go through in all of that, and highlight some really cool upgrades that we've done in this area. Today with me, I've got Frank Garcia. He's one of our VAs. I bet many of you managers already know him. Frank, do you want to say hi?
Hey everyone, Rinky here. I should be a familiar face. I've worked with a lot of you, so excited to show you some new improvements.
Cool. Thank you, Frankie. And we also have Houston. Houston is one of our senior engineers here. He built a lot of this stuff, so if there's any errors in it, we can yell at him instead of me for once, which is great relief for me. Um, cool. Yeah. So with that being said, we're going to talk about a couple different things today. So we're going to talk about click to close. For established SL partner managers, some of you have been moved on to click to close from our legacy onboarding pipeline over the past few months. For anyone who's newer in the past few months, you probably started on click to close. So that will be not too much new for you, but that'll just be a couple minutes of talking, and I'll try and zoom through that and just kind of give an overview of the big differences and upgrades there. And then we can get into the live demos showing the new LP experiences. So as I said, after that, we're going to do a little new demo of the new LP experience, which is a lot nicer and just like a better UX for them, much less confusing. We're going to go over signing an LPA and going over kind of the improvements to the LPA agreement that we've actually made that will make it a lot harder for your LPs to mess it up. So we'll talk more about that, but that should be a really big improvement too. And then lastly, there's a couple things for accreditation checks. This is specific to 506C funds. So for any 506B funds, that will not be as relevant, but I'll try and zoom through those since they're not as relevant to everyone. The short news is their SEC released some new rules that makes things even easier for us. So it's a really positive legislation win kind of for once. Yeah, and just as a heads up, everything we're going to be talking about and showing here today will be rolling out over the next few days. It's not live in production yet, except for a very small testing set of customers. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to get started into the boring stuff first. I mostly am just going to tell everyone a little bit more about click to close, how this works, so everyone is on board on kind of why this is so much better than our previous system. I'm going to share my screen to make that a little bit easier to visualize. Okay, we're going to do this and this. Okay, this is a lot of information getting thrown at you. I know. The the easiest way to explain this is I'm going to go through a couple of the stages and a couple of the advantages and disadvantages into the closing process. So on our right, we have the old closing pipeline stages. And in fact, I'll just make this a little bit bigger. We have built this system we call click to close because it is almost one click. And once you do that on the happy path, if they pass AML, the LP is basically closed into the fund once they go through their actions and tasks. It's got a lot of advantages over the old system. It's got some better, just more descriptive stages. It automates a lot of the busy work. So I'm going to do a quick comparison just so you know where we went to where we're going. So in the old system, someone would get sent an LPA, you move them to your closing pipeline, they get sent an LPA, and then they sign. They move to this send counters, the signed LPA hold, and then we have to manually run on our side the AML for them. This is anti-money laundering. It's a basic background level check. Make sure they're not, an international fraudster. If they don't pass AML, our team then has to manually kick off KYC, which is a more involved background check, which stands for Know Your Customer. It's just a background check. And these were easier to lose track of because they were kind of manual items our team had to handle a little bit. And only once they, passed AML or KYC, our team then would have to kind of manually keep track of that, move them into the send countersign stage, send the 4A email, and then also manually add them to capital calls, potentially, other things like that. This system didn't have a lot of visibility to you as the manager as to like where someone was in the stage, what their status was, if they had failed AML, if they were working on their KYC, things like that. And that was the real reason we built Click to Close. In the new Click to Close pipeline, you similarly send them the LPA and you move into the send LPA stage, or you click the little send LPA button. That's the same. But once they're there, they get sent the LPA form, which they sign, which is also a more advanced, nicer user experience than the previous form. I'm not going to be demoing the differences of that today. But so they get sent the thing. Automatically, if they click the link in the email, so they get sent that, and then they get moved to the LPA sent stage. And then if they even click the link in the email, they get sent to the viewed stage. So you have better visibility on who's even read your email and opened it. Okay, once they do that, once they finish their onboarding, we automatically kick off AML. If they fail AML is the unhappy path, they will get queued up to automatically do KYC for our team. They'll also get sent to this stage. So you know that they have, encountered maybe some unhappy path or AML failed for them. We got to run KYC, and you'll see them in these stages so you can easily keep track of where your prospects are at. The KYC process is also automatically kind of queued up for our team. The LP doesn't automatically get sent the email to go through it. We still confirm with you. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, Frankie, but it's automatically queued up for our team. So it's easy for us to track, and it's faster for us to send them out and get them approved by our compliance team. So that whole process is much less manual, automatically queued up for us, and it happens faster for everyone. If they were to pass AML, though, they just automatically go into the closing stage and get closed and admitted into your fund if everything goes well. All of these jobs and actions happen, but the answer is basically like, if they sign, it's much less work to get them all the way to the closing. Frankie, anything you want to add on here? Is there anything I got wrong there?
No, everything's perfect. Just one thing to highlight is that this does make it a lot faster. So traditionally, we would have to run AML. A team member would have to take a look, download the information. Now it's all streamlined and automatic.
So this is a lot of hand waving and explaining, like, it's faster for us, but because it's faster for us, it will also be faster for you guys, and the system is just made much better. Okay, that is most of the boring stuff of me just talking to you and explaining why Click to Close is so much better. It's going to be faster for you guys. We hope you love it. Now we want to talk about the cooler, juicier stuff of demoing some of the new LP onboarding experience stuff. Is there any questions or any chats we need to address or anything like? Oh, I should have also mentioned, guys, if you have questions on this process, you can put them in the chat or put them in the Q&A, which is under the little more section in Zoom. Either of those work. Questions are welcome here. We're trying to make this as good as possible for you guys. So just keep that in mind and don't feel hesitant to put in a question here. Okay, so that was the boring stuff. That was me just talking at you. Now we are going to run through a much cooler experience once I find my right tab. Okay, so we have built, and by we I mean Houston, have built a much nicer LP experience for your LPs to sign and onboard into the fund. This affects everyone. So previously, when someone got a link in that, send LPA email, let me find the right tab for us. Pardon me. Many tabs. Okay. They just got put onto a form. Let me find a. Okay, I don't have a tab up for this. They just got put on immediately to a form. And that form is just like a how would you like to invest? Doesn't give a lot of context or info. It doesn't set expectations with the ELP for like how long this signing process is going to happen. It's a bit just like contextless and it's really not a nice user experience, we realized. So what we built is this is the same link that they would go to from the email. Now they get here and they hit a very nice instructive landing page. I'll be going through this process for a 506C fund. So there'll be one extra step or one or two extra steps for compared to a 506B fund, but I'll explain that in 1 minute. Regardless, they land on this landing page and it's much more clear what they're doing. It shows them all of the steps that they'll be taking to complete their onboarding. And these will change, specifically verify your identity and accreditation status, because I'm doing a 506C start fund for this demo. 506B demo won't have these. It'll just have sign your subscription agreement and then send your wire. But it lets people know a little bit more that, okay, this is going to be a process. It's going to take probably 5 to 10 minutes to knock out 1 to 4 tasks, go through a couple little questionnaires, and it just hopefully guides them a lot more on what they're doing and how they're going to be investing into your fund. So hopefully is a much more professional looking experience for them. I will actually walk through this entire signing process for us today because we're also going to highlight some really, really great improvements to the LPA that we're rolling out as well that will help people get confused less. So I'll click begin. They'll go through the standard LPA. Some later pages in this are the ones that are being changed. This is all the standard LPA that a lot of you may be familiar with if at least you've been on click to close. So I am going to do this, and I'll also make a note. All of these things kind of get demoed at once because it just has to be that way. You'll note I am investing as an individual, and I'm investing over $200,000. We'll talk about why that's important later. Okay, I am going to zoom through this LPA signing. Okay, so here is the new improved part of the LPA agreement specifically. This is much, much different than what we used to have. So now we have this thing, choose your path to investing. We've got 3 options. I'm an accredited investor. I'm not a US person, and I can legally invest under my local laws, or I am none of these. To put it in context of what this used to look like, we used to have this giant monstrosity of a page with a ton of text, and you say, okay, am I a US person? Yes or no, or like, you click no and new things pop up, and there's this giant other thing of text here. All of these have just been simplified into 3 options that the LP chooses. And specifically, if any of you guys have encountered an issue with LPs hitting this page, the dastardly block page, it's because there are legal ramifications to letting people into your fund who answer with certain representations. They have to be accredited investors, or they have to go through Reg S if they're not accredited investors. And we have a lot of issues where people answer the questions wrong or accidentally misclick something, and it leads them to this block page where they're not able to move back previous pages. This previous page button only shows because I'm an admin here. We built it that way because we need to be compliant with our legal team and our legal counsel. But I have actually sat down with our legal counsel and we have rebuilt this to be much more user-friendly while still being completely compliant. So this will, still avoid you guys any legal headaches for accidentally admitting someone who's unaccredited into your fund. Much, much simpler. This will hopefully be much, much simpler. Now it's basically, if they click I am none of these, they will still hit that block page. We have to allow them to be able to reach that. We have to be able to let them honestly answer their intent. But it makes it much, much clearer, like, hey, here are your options. You're either a US investor, and you can review what exactly that means right here, or you are not a US person, which kind of just means you're not a US taxpayer. You can view the IRS definition as well here. And then we still have the Reg S page question, but we removed some of the boilerplate text. We condensed it into one thing, and we made it just easier to read, where it's just a lot more clear of just as long as they agree to that, then they'll be able to continue. So in this case, I'm going to click US accredited investor. I'm going to pause here. I see a couple things in the chat here. Okay. Karen says twice this week, people hit this. Karen, you're not the only one. Many people on this call, in every single fund, this happens all the time. People answer these questions incorrectly and make mistakes. And we have tried our best to simplify this and make it so much harder for them to mess up. That is kind of our primary goal. Yeah. Juka asks a question, why does the landing page say send your wire? It's a later step in the process associated with capital calls, and that usually part of signing the LPA and onboarding. While that's true, we have some logic there. So for a 506c start fund, and this fund specifically, there is a capital call active. The way we have kind of built this is to focus on getting them through the LPA, and then there'll be another step after this to create their Decile Pro user, and then they'll land on Decile Pro and be able to wire. We have some logic that step will be a bit different if there isn't an active capital call for your fund. But for most funds, there is an active capital call at most times, and that checkbox will be shown. And we'll get to that step after we get this. I think it'll be easier to show than explain, to show than tell there. Pause for anything. Any other comments from you, Frankie or Houston?
Not for me.
Okay, I'll keep rolling. Keep questions and comments coming, guys. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, I'm a US accredited investor. And we've also moved, there's kind of two, I don't want to say check the box questions, but there are two questions. One of them is conditional. It's only for entities. So for individuals, there's one question that says, are you a criminal? And you might think, okay, yeah, of course, no one's going to say I'm a criminal. It's easy, especially after that big wall of text, to click the wrong one. We've moved this to its own page. It's easier to read, less mental fatigue for the LPs as they go through this. And they just click the first one, hopefully, as long as they are not a criminal. They represent that. They sign the page. Give that about 5 seconds. And we're going to land back onto our kind of checklist sort of experience. Okay, this will be a good time. I'm going to do a brief explanation of some new SEC legislation that affects only 506c funds. Not all of the funds on this call or everyone watching this will be 506c, so I'm going to go through this quickly. There's a cool new no action letter from the SEC that says that if you are investing in a 506c fund and you are investing over $200,000 as an individual or over $1 million as an entity, you don't have to do an accreditation check. You can just skip it. So specifically for some of our start funds who are 506c, you will now see that I pointed out earlier, there was a accreditation action here. That's gone. You don't have to do a accreditation and For those who don't know, that's quite an onerous process. You have to send a letter from your accountant or your own like tax returns and income statements to prove accreditation. That's the downside of the 506C, while the upside is you can publicly advertise without fear of kind of general solicitation as much. So uh, we built that logic in there. That's something for any start funds or 506C funds who are watching this. Be aware, we've made it easier. If you've got big LPs, it will be much less of a hassle for them to onboard. Okay. In this case, I'm doing it into a start fund. All start fund LPs have to go through KYC. If you're a 506B fund, you wouldn't have to do that. So then I would go through this first you create your Decile Pro account. This is part of the new LP onboarding flow, is that we wanted to do it after they signed the LPA, because we know that getting those LPA signatures are so critical. But we also wanted to make sure people are building their Decile Pro accounts so they can access their wire instructions and all of their other documents and tax documents, things like that. You may notice we've got some upgrades to this. You can just one-click sign up with Google or with LinkedIn, and that will just say Decile Pro wants to have LinkedIn logged in for you. Perfect. Click yes, and you are popped into Decile Pro. Otherwise, you can just create your user here. We don't make them pause on any email confirmations or anything like that. We just do that, and then they can begin this whole KYC process. For this type of fund, the LPs need to go through KYC, so they would go through that. We probably won't be demoing that today and going through the iCapital demo process, just because that takes an extra 3 minutes that I don't really want you guys to watch me fill out forms. That being said, if there is enough interest in that, I can put a video together for anyone who is curious as to what the KYC process looks like. If anyone wants to say in chat or right now, we can also spend the 90 seconds it will take me, and you will just get a good feeling of whenever you are sending someone through KYC, what exact forms are they filling out? What is like the little screens they have to go through? Any reactions in chat? Frankie, Houston, what do you guys think? Mohammed says he would like to see it. Okay. Since we're on this webinar today, let's do it. This is something that affects everyone, since AML fails for like 10% of people globally, it seems. So this does affect kind of all funds. I see Juka has a question. Frankie, do you want to read that out for us, or?
Yeah. Juka has 2 questions. The first one is to clarify, are some of these process steps adapted automatically by the fund type? So 506B versus 506C. I can answer that one. And yes, they're automatically adopted, so you don't have to worry about any of this getting mixed up with your LPs. Second question, how about existing LPs of your fund? Do they need identity verification check when investing in Fund 2? Woody?
That's a great question. Houston, do you want to take that one? I can answer it too.
Sure, I can answer it. If it's a 506B fund, then they aren't going to see this identity check in the first place, assuming that they passed AML. That is the normal path for 506B. For some funds, we have to do KYC on everything. If they have already passed KYC, then I believe that we do not have to redo the KYC. Or if they click on this and they've already done it, they will log into their parallel markets, or iCapital, sorry, which Woody is about to show, and it will already be approved for them. So this step will be like 5 seconds if it shows up.
Exactly. Yeah. The quick answer is no, they don't have to redo any of the auth for your fund.
Yes. And and to your first question, this will only affect some funds. So most 506B people aren't going to have to go through this anyway, through this step.
Cool. Okay. So we will show off KYC because I want you guys as the managers to also be confident in the experience that your LPs are going through. So this is going to be using iCapital, and we gave them a little pop-up, explain, hey, you're going to be brought to iCapital. You're going to do your stuff with them. This is the vendor we use for now for this. we aren't completely married to them by any means. So if we ever find one that's better user experience, we're considering switching over to that. For now, we've been decently happy with them. They're okay. So this will be through their kind of sandbox thing, because all of this stuff I'm demoing for you is on our staging account. We haven't fully rolled it out. I am going to just type in more 1, 2, 3 more. Okay, it's asking for some permissions, and you just click authorize. This is the info that they share with you. Either do a driver's license or a passport. You can do a little cool phone experience where they scan a QR code and then like can take the pictures on their phone. That's usually easier because people may not have the photos of their like passport or driver's license on their computer already. If they do, I'm going to click upload images just because in the demo sandbox, we can just skip it. So I'm going to click, skip the ID verification here. At last, there's just some like some stuff that we have to type in to finish the identity verification where they just put in, stuff about themselves. Click next. And boom, that's it. So it's usually just like a photo of an ID and then some of their personal information. They do have to maybe scan the QR code to like take the photos on their phone or anything like that, but it's a decently smooth experience. That's what the KYC process will look like anytime someone fails AML, regardless of what type of fund you have. It's all the same this. So I clicked submit verification. We get some nice confetti. Great job, Houston, on building that. I love that. And in this case, it's letting me know, hey, we're signed. Your wire instructions are ready, since for this fund, they've got wire instructions ready and they've already done a first close. And we can click view your wire instructions, and that will just pop them directly into Decile Pro. And from there, the LP experience is similar to before. It will just land them on Pro. For the staging session, I think that the way our staging connects to the sandbox for the iCapital is iCapital doesn't give quite the same fidelity for our staging thing. So in prod, I'll go here and I'll probably say, my identity verification is still pending, I think. We'll give this just 1 second to load. Yeah, it's going to say verify identity. And that's just a thing that's on staging only. This would be pretty much already done on the regular thing. It will say identity verification is pending. You have to wait for us to approve it. The KYC process, as we know, after they submit it, takes us a couple hours, maybe a business day, to go in and approve it to make sure that there's no fraud matches or anything like that. Yeah, so that's a big overview of the new LP experience and onboarding kind of in general there. Okay.
One question from Andrew. The question is, did we miss where an LP can download and review the LPA? Is there an option here, or is it built in to avoid reading the document?
I skipped straight through that. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. Andrew, so yeah, no, everything's always transparent. They're going to be able to download the document right on the signature page. So before they sign, there's a little button that they can click to download.
Yeah. Okay. I'll jump through the LPA to show you that. I am so used to testing this, guys, that I just zoomed through that. That page we haven't changed too much in the last couple weeks. Okay. Credit investor. No, I'm not a criminal. Okay. Here's the signing page that Frankie was referring to. Yes. So as Frankie was mentioning, you can view the LPA, preview the document, and you should be able to download as soon as it loads. Also, Domingo has a suggestion for encode for KYC, faster and easier experience. Thank you. We'll make a note to look into that. We're always investigating these partners to see how they can handle stuff better. So thank you for that suggestion. We will look into that encode. Okay. So here is them previewing the entire LPA document. And they should be able to download the file as well when they preview it here. So this is where they download and preview the LPA. Yeah. As for shareable versions of the LPA, that is something that we have shipped for like shareable unsigned versions of the LPA. That's something we've recently shipped for start funds since it's much easier to do that programmatically. We're still working on that for non-start funds to like just put something in your data room so people can view it without having to input stuff and get to the signature page. Yeah. Cool. Okay. I see a couple bit of chatter. I'm glad people are having a good time. Any other Q&A here?
I think we're all set.
Awesome. Okay. Does anyone have more questions on the experience here? This is pretty much most of what we're going to demo today, is just going through that. So just to remind everyone, we covered click to close is just like this much better experience. It's faster for everyone. And hopefully it's just like a one click, get them all the way to being closed and admitted in your fund in a happy path, at least when they pass AML. We talked about the new LP onboarding experience, how they're going to be on this nicer landing page, which gives them more context for their next steps. Then we also highlighted changes to the LPA. Hopefully these changes will make it so much fewer LPs are going to get confused and block themselves out of signing the LPA and representing themselves incorrectly. So we're looking forward to that and having a lot fewer of those because it's work for us to reset these. We know it's work for you to reset them. We want every single thing out of the way as possible to get people from signing LPAs. In the LPA experience, it's also just noting Google, LinkedIn sign up, going to make it a lot easier. For 506c funds, any large investors, they can just kind of skip accreditation now based on how much they're investing, which is a really cool upgrade. And yeah, as a reminder, all of this stuff is getting rolled out over the next few days is our plan. Okay, seeing a couple more questions and stuff in chat now. Frank, you want to tee those up for me?
Yep. Let's see here. All right, first question from Mohammed is, if an LP lands in the closing queue, is that because they failed AML?
No, so closed queue, I didn't go over that when I was going over the stages because it doesn't affect everyone. Closing queue is where people go if you have begun collecting signatures for your LPA before your fund has done an official close, they will sit in closing queue until your fund does an official close. I have that right, Frankie?
Yeah, and then just to add some more context, basically when the LP signs the LPA, this is the stage that they land when they're ready to close. So if they pass AML and everything is good, they land here.
Oh, sorry. This is the normal happy path. This is where they land. And then there's I guess it's 2 clicks. You send them the LPA, everything goes quick, like correctly. And then once you decide, you move them to the close stage to fully close them. Either you or your VA will do that together. Sorry. That's the key thing I missed there. Thank you, Frankie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Next up, any changes happening on PAC to LPA path?
Any change at PAC to LPA? No changes planned for that so far. If you, I'd be curious to see anything you have in mind for that, as in making PAC to LPA even quicker. I kind of started our demo at when I was the explanation of click to close, as in you had just moved into your closing pipeline. We can set up an automation that if someone signs a pact, they automatically start that process. We can show you how to set that up in your own investor pipeline, actually, but we don't have any specific changes planned around there. We'd be curious on your feedback, though, if you do want any changes.
Awesome. Yeah, Domingo. Yeah, we can help you set that up. It's pretty fast. So yeah. Next up, Mala asks, she wants to check the email being sent every time before it goes into click to close. Can she enable that?
I have to double check. I think the answer is yes, because I think you would, sorry, the answer is yes. In your closing pipeline, you would just make this action, which we default automated. You can just edit this to make this not automated. And then when people land in the send LPA task, they'll be, they'll have the overdue action and you'll just need to go and click it, and you can customize the email too then if you desire, and you'll be able to overview it there too. So yeah, you can do that. You can change that on your pipeline there.
All right. Next up, Sumit. Oh, how do you get to this view of stages? Oh, just follow-up question from Mala. How do you get to this view of stages?
Absolutely. Okay, we just shipped a new kind of UI paradigm for pipelines. So that is a great question. We should talk about that for a second too. So I'm on my LP closing pipeline, manage, edit stages here. And that'll be for all pipelines. It's now a button that's manage, and that's how you get to your emails and your stages. And then you would go here, expand the LPA action, and be able to edit it here. I would say be careful on editing things in the closing pipeline, but setting things automated versus not automated will be okay. Yeah, at least for an email action.
All right. Next question by Sumit, and I love this question, and I'm going to enjoy answering this one. Do husband, wife, joint tenants have to sign separately? So with the new improvements, traditionally we used to have to send an LPA out through Hub, and then we would have to send a separate PandaDoc in order to get that second signature. Now through the system, we can actually do both signatures through Hub. Whenever there is an extra signatory, all they have to do is go into Hub as well. They're going to be sent an email, and they'll just click on it, sign, and that'll be it. It's actually pretty fast now, and I'm so happy that this has been improved.
Yeah, I should try to see if I can. Okay, watch this. If I re-sign this, we can do a little demo of this quickly. I go back to this screen on the LPA, and we'll say we'll sign jointly. This is joint tenants, the type we call it, for husband and wife. We'll say Wilma Abshire, give the data for Wilma Abshire, and then you say the other joint investors. So I'm going to say Dan Abshire, her partner, and this is going to be Woody plus Dan Abshire at westhilegroup.com. This is a great question, by the way. We explicitly asked them, say Dan and Wilma Abshire. Okay, we'll just say accredited investor. Once we get to the signature page here, this is, I think, Wilma Abshire signing. So we'll click sign. I will bring up in another tab somewhere else what should be a signature request once this is done. Okay. So boom, Wilma Abshire, one of the two married people, just signed. You've signed successfully, and now we need Dan Abshire to sign. And if I load up my email, hopefully this will be sent in just a second. One second, I'm moving Windows out of the way to do this off screen. Okay, this is taking this might take about a minute for the email to send to the other signatory, but this person gets a signature request, and then they open it up, sign on their behalf, and it's much more clear, kind of seeing who is signing on whose behalf. Oh, and go ahead.
What are you're in staging, so the email shouldn't send, right?
Thank you very much. This is our staging. Thank you. I'm so glad you told me that. This is our staging environment. So I'm checking my email. All of our staging emails go to a mail catcher because we don't want them sending live. But this is the experience that Wilma sees of like, okay, we've emailed your co-signer, and it's much more clear to them also where exactly in the process they are and like who's waiting on whose signature. This is another great improvement. Houston, do you want to also talk for 30 seconds about kind of the improvements you've made for helping people sign and fill out forms like on behalf of like their like secretary signing out the form for them?
Yeah, this is a long-standing issue where often entities or like family offices or something would have an assistant who is not actually signing the document, but actually fills out these forms for them. Previously, we had issues with that because we assumed that whoever was filling it out was actually signing the document. We've made improvements so that that person will not be automatically marked as a signer. They can add themselves as an additional contact when they were filling that out, but they would still need to put, the primary signatory as the signer on there, but they would still be maintained as a contact for the capital account, which previously this caused us all kinds of headaches.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Some of your biggest LPs that might have people who fill out the forms for them, we handle that much more nicely now. And yeah, we'll run into less issues there as well. Houston also fixed and made those improvements. Thank you, Houston. Yeah, I see one or two more questions. Mala asks about portfolio management. I am not prepared to demo that, and that's not what we're planning on doing for this webinar. We have another webinar, I think, happening in like within 5 days or within 7 days. It might be Wednesday of next week, specifically for portfolio management. Austin is running that one. So the answer is yes, we can show you, and we will show you next week on that webinar exactly. And Mala also asked, can you talk about the states before they sign, some email reminders? Yes. Let's talk about the click to close pipeline. So by default, the click to close pipeline has a couple automated or like follow-up actions, as in you send them an LPA and then okay, boom, sends the LPA, they get sent to the LPA sent stage. From there, we have some email reminders that you can choose to automate or not. We have a couple of them automated by default. If you don't want any of those getting sent out, you can, as we saw earlier, go to this and change these to not be automated, for example. Or oftentimes we have people like make the first one not automated while the others will be, which means that, okay, don't send the first reminder ever. But once I send them a reminder, then you can send them another reminder email or something like that 3 days after that. Yeah, so those parts of the click to close pipeline are completely configurable by you too. Yeah, good question on that. Awesome, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us today. We really want to make this the best possible LP signing experience. We also wanted to let you guys know what we were doing ahead of time before we shipped anything. So yeah, thank you for joining us today. Frankie, Houston, any last farewell comments?
Yeah, just thank you for joining us, and really excited for these updates. It's going to make life a lot easier. It's going to make things easier for your LPs. So yeah, super excited about this.
Cool. So yeah, we'll be rolling. Oh, go ahead, Houston.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say thanks everybody for joining, and hope you like all the updates here.
Yes. Again, we're super open to feedback. We build this alongside you guys. These changes will be rolling out in your accounts over the next couple days. Everything is moving so fast in Hub because of AI. This is one area we are not moving at fast on because we are moving careful on this. We want to make sure for anything that's LP facing, we're getting it right and that we're delivering a high quality LP experience so you guys can be confident in this. So I just want to say thank you guys for joining. And yeah, we'll see you all soon. Thanks, guys. Take care.